Hi there, this is Josh from Literary Gladiators, and today I'm here with a book haul. My most recent videos have been book hauls, but I can promise you that I am working on a lyrical analysis and a book tag. They are going to be on the way, and the book tag is going to be the first time in quite some time that I've responded to a tag that I was tagged in. I have to go back and see tags that I've been tagged in and maybe respond to them. Hopefully it's not too late. But the book haul that I'm going to be talking to you about is what I acquired on my second visit to return the page in the Williamstown Farmers Market. And I really enjoy going to the Williamstown Farmers Market. I look forward to getting a soft pretzel and an orange creamsicle smoothie on each of my visits, and then I go to return the page and buy myself some books, and I was very happy with what I acquired on this visit. I acquired 14 books, and let's begin. The first one that I got is a classic, or a modern classic, and that is We the Living by Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand is known most for Atlas Shrugged. She also wrote Fountainhead and Anthem, but We the Living was her very first book that she wrote and published, and it pertains to, as per the back of the book, the impact of the Russian Revolution on three human beings who demand the right to live their own lives and pursue their own happiness. It also tells of a girl's passionate love, held like a fortress against the corrupting evil of a totalitarian state. Ayn Rand is known heavily for her libertarian influence on society and within the party at hand, and of that way of thinking. I bought 2 Stephen King books while I was there as well. I got Elevation, which to me reminds me a lot of Bag of Bones and the Renaissance works of the late 90s, because there is a supernatural element to it, but a lot of it has to do with human nature and human interaction with one another. And then something that I looked over again, the summary, and this really touches upon the horror that he's known most for, but the content is reflective of things that you would see, things that you would speculate, supernaturally so, but still speculate in today's way of living, and that is the Institute. And this pertains to a young boy losing his parents are killed. He's kidnapped and put in this institution where you do well if you behave, but you get sent away and never come back if you don't. And the central character in this piece, Luke Ellis, is looking to get out of the circumstance and look for help. Someone that I've heard about through the BookTube community that I wanted to look into myself is Grady Hendrix. I've heard a lot of great things about him, and I bought 2 of his books. One is We Sold Our Souls, which pertains to the music industry, and in particular a heavy metal band where someone is thrown into a dire situation pertaining to being part of something that could have been successful, but the lead singer of the group decides to leave the band, go solo, and they're pretty much thrown into a worse situation. And I also got the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, which has to do with a woman, her connection to her book club, and the trouble that she ends up getting herself into. Then I got some nonfiction. This is Freedom's Detective by Charles Lane. The initial summary is that it's the Secret Service, the Ku Klux Klan, and the man who masterminded America's first war on terror. And it pertains to Hiram C. Whitley, who he became chief of the Secret Service. He led a war against the KKK, but he had what was viewed as a corrupt and shady dark side, and that is what this book explains. It explains his background, his work with the Secret Service, but what it became. Next, I got a biography on Thurgood Marshall. This is Thurgood Marshall, American Revolutionary by Juan Williams. In some retrospect, I'm a little bit hesitant when it comes to picking up pieces by political commentators, because I very well know who Juan Williams is. But I would like to read this. If I'm able to acquire books by Bill O'Reilly, I'm pretty sure that I can acquire books by Juan Williams, and I want to see what their approach is and what I get out of this. I'd like to learn more about Thurgood Marshall. He was our very first black Supreme Court justice. He was appointed by Lyndon Johnson. But before that, he was the... he oversaw the Brown versus Board of Education. Next, I got Founding Rivals, Madison versus Monroe, Bill of Rights and the Election That Saved a Nation by DeRose. And this pertains to the rivalry of James Madison and James Monroe. They were the only two eventual presidents that ran against one another in an election for a congressional seat. They ran for the same seat in Virginia, and Madison wrote the Constitution. Monroe was against it. The reason, as per the back of the book, is that Monroe thought that it gave the federal government too much power, but yet Madison believed that it was quintessential in keeping the country standing. Eventually, James Monroe did become James Madison's Secretary of State, though. But on the topic of Bill O'Reilly, I acquired another Bill O'Reilly book, which is Lincoln's Last Days. He wrote this with Dwight John Zimmerman, and this pertains to the last days leading up to Abraham Lincoln's assassination on April 14th, 1865. Lincoln would die the next day. There are other books in the series. There's Kennedy's Last Days and The Last Days of Jesus. The next book that I got is Caste, The Origins of Our Discontent by Isabel Wilkerson. And I first came across this book through the BookTube Prize, but this pertains to the structure of hierarchy within our society and within global societies pertaining to the class system, and how it is the hereditary effects, and this book really covers a lot of ground as far as the way that it has a major impact on people and their ability to make their way throughout life and be able to improve their standing or anything of that accord. But the fact that it was part of the BookTube Prize is what attracted me to this book the most. Next, I got Red, White, and Greens, The Italian Way with Vegetables by Faith Willinger. Faith Willinger is an American who has lived in Italy for at least 20 years. She had been living there for 20 years when this book was released. But this is background information on vegetables and their use in Italian cuisine, and then recipes that implement each of the vegetables. I got 3 books pertaining to different artists, and Return the Page has quite a nice selection as far as books on art is concerned. I've been talking to a lot of people that have an interest in art and in painting in particular. But this is another book that I acquired about Paul Cezanne. This is simply called Cezanne by Hayo Duchting. And this is a biography of Cezanne, which includes many of his paintings. Most of the books about artists are large and contain quite a lot of illustration, which I think is appropriate for a book of this nature. Here is one on Rubens, in particular Peter Paul Rubens, but he's often referred to just as Rubens. This was written by Susan Lawson, and this is a biography, and it includes plenty of his paintings. Then I got a biography on Francesco Goya Silentis. This is a biography on Goya by Werner Hofmann. Werner Hofmann is an art instructor from Hamburg in Germany. But this also is filled with biographical information, but also a great deal of his paintings. Alrighty, those are the 14 books that I acquired on my most recent visit to Return the Page in Williamstown, New Jersey. I highly encourage you to check them out, and I definitely am eager to go back the next time I'm at the Williamstown Farmers Market. I would like to pay more visits to their shop. Thank you for tuning in, and for now, keep reading.